Now at 6 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, a fatal hit-and-run case from the Houston area solved 3 years later.
Aid to Israel remains frozen as the House remains without a speaker.
And the reason a suspected shooter opened fire at a state fair park over the weekend, new tonight, what he told officers is coming up.
Plenty of sunshine over the crossroads, but it's getting warmer because the wind is no longer from the north, it's coming up from the south. We'll tell you what that's going to do to your week coming up in a moment.
And we take a look at the biggest games featuring area teams this week. These are so good, we don't know which should be the game of the week. We need your help coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News Now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia.
A 29-year-old man sentenced to 2 decades in prison for the hit-and-run death of Austin Reese. On Monday, a Fort Bend County jury found 29-year-old Joaquin Adrian Lima guilty of killing Reese in December of 2021. Today, we've learned Lima will spend 20 years in prison. Reese was walking on the northbound feeder road of U.S. Highway 59 near South Parkway in Sugar Land when Lima hit and killed him. Lima never stopped. Reese pronounced dead at the scene. He was 37 years old. 25 News Now in contact with the Reese family and the district attorney. We'll bring you more at 10.
Representative Jim Jordan's first bid for House Speaker has failed. The Ohio Republican did not secure enough GOP support to win the House speakership Tuesday, with 20 Republicans voting against him. Now he will try to sway the holdouts, specifically a group of GOP moderates and allies of former Speaker Kevin McCarthy and Steve Scalise.
Jim Jordan has a really steep hill to climb, and I don't think that hill has just gotten any less difficult. There was 20. I know there's folks that are saying, hey, I'm with him for one round, but after that, they're kind of like a free agent. We need to find somebody. Look, I think the right person is Kevin McCarthy.
Until the House elects a speaker, the chamber is paralyzed, unable to consider legislation such as passing additional military aid to Israel.
As the war in Israel continues to rage, thousands of Americans are impacted by the unfolding conflict. And Muslim communities say they are concerned about anti-Muslim bias, and one Illinois community coping with the loss of a child after he was stabbed to death in what police say was a hate crime.
Disturbing new details emerging a day after a 6-year-old Palestinian-American boy was laid to rest. The young boy was stabbed to death in what law enforcement says was a hate-motivated attack. Landlord Joseph Zuba was charged with murder and hate crimes after police say he stabbed Waidia Al-Fayoum and seriously injured the boy's mother, Hanan Shaheen. According to court documents, his wife told police Zuba routinely listened to conservative talk radio and had been following the conflict in the Middle East. Prosecutors said he had asked the family to move out of their residence after the conflict started. Apparently, his wife said, because he believed Shaheen would bring her Palestinian friends to harm them.
He was less words to his mom. Mom, I'm fine.
There is a palpable sense of fear across Palestinian communities. Some are worried about a possible increase in threats and anti-Muslim bias.
I need my father to stay alive. I stay up at night, every night, praying and hoping he comes home safely.
Palestinians in the U.S. are also awaiting news from their relatives who are trapped in Gaza amid the ongoing conflict.
Every day we sit waiting on our phones to see if our friends and our family are alive.
Americans are also looking to help Israelis affected by the war. The Jewish National Fund USA is working to raise $10 million in the next month to send aid to people living in Israel. I'm Gloria Pasmino reporting.
Jordanians gathered in the capital city of Amman today to show support for Palestinians on the eve of President Biden's visit to the region. The president will visit Israel tomorrow in a show of solidarity as its military prepares a ground offensive against Hamas and international pressure builds over the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. The Palestinian Health Ministry, which is run by Hamas, said an Israeli airstrike Tuesday hit the Al-Ali hospital packed with wounded Palestinians seeking shelter. If confirmed, the attack would be by far the deadliest Israeli airstrike in 5 wars fought since 2008.
And now shifting gears, let's take a look at your forecast with Chief Meteorologist Mac Bettis. Mac, what do you got for us?
Well, it's a beautiful day out there, 75 degrees, fairly comfortable. Let's see how high we got today. We got up to 77, which is below the average. The problem is we're going to get above average and beyond. We may see a couple of 90s here. I thought it was October. We'll be talking more about that. But here's the important one. We've had no rain today. We've had only 2.27 for the month. That gives us 27 for the year. That means we're still 5 inches below, so we got to get something going. And we'll be talking about that coming up in a moment.
Mac, thank you. New information on the State Fair of Texas shooting over the weekend. Newly released court documents say the suspect, 22-year-old Cameron Turner, went up to a concession stand to buy a bottle of water. Video from the fairgrounds show a group of men approaching Turner from a distance. A man identified as Cade Kelly approached him, and after exchanging words, Turner shoots Kelly as well as 2 bystanders. When officers apprehended him, Turner said he felt threatened by Cade and went into survival mode. The director of security for the State Fair of Texas says they've revisited the fair's safety plans and made changes, like putting in new fences at the main entrance.
A new report from the FBI shows that violent crime in the U.S. decreased slightly last year, but property crime is on the rise. The estimated volume of violent crime declined 1.7%. Now, the violent crime umbrella includes murder, non-neglect manslaughter, rape, aggravated assault, and robbery. The DPS reports that in Texas, violent crime decreased from 2021 to 2022 by 2.73%.
Aldine ISD will hold a board meeting tonight to discuss building a football field on the land owned by a family since 1905. KPRC reports the district has been trying to take 78-year-old Travis Upchurch's land to renovate and expand its football stadium. Last April, the Aldine ISD board voted to take the property by eminent domain so that the district can move forward with its $50 million project to replace Thorne Stadium, a football facility they say has been a fixture in the community since 1979.
The city of San Antonio is facing a lawsuit after budgeting $500,000 to support reproductive health services. You can read this full story by the Texas Tribune on our CrossroadsToday.com website.
Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell so you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. And stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 6. A mother in Utah facing child abuse charges. Will she receive custody of her 6 children is the big question.
Also ahead, a viral TikTok star makes her way to Victoria College.
Hi, I'm Detective Kelly Gibbs with the Victoria Police Department. Victoria Crime Stoppers is seeking information about burglaries of a building. The Victoria Police Department is requesting assistance in the identification of a white or Hispanic male subject that was caught on surveillance video. On September 28, 2023, several storage units were burglarized at a business located at the 200 block of Sam Houston Drive. The male subject was described as being approximately 5'10", with dark curly hair, wearing a red shirt and black shorts. The male subject was also seen carrying a sling-type bag with a pair of shoes tied to it. If you have any information about these burglaries of a building, please call Victoria Crime Stoppers at 361-572-4200. You can also submit a tip by using the B3 Tip app on your Android or Apple device, or by visiting our website at www.crimestoppersvictoria.com. All tips are anonymous, and if you give information that leads to an arrest or charges being filed, you could earn a cash reward. With the Victoria Police Department, I'm Detective Kelly Gibbs.
Americans overwhelmingly seem to sympathize with unionized auto workers in their ongoing strike against major car companies. That's according to a new CNN poll. The survey shows Americans side about 3-to-1 with union members over the employers. A 66% majority says that elected officials should generally stay out of disputes between private employers and labor unions. A Utah parenting vlogger facing felony child abuse charges in court for a hearing on the custody of 4 of her 6 children.
Yeah, police raided her home after her 12-year-old son allegedly fled from her home and was taken in by a neighbor who called 911. Now that escape was 5 hours away from the home.
Utah mom influencer Ruby Franke, known for her tough love parenting methods on YouTube that attracted millions of followers, now facing legal scrutiny over those methods. Today, she was back in court on child abuse charges.
Keeping them home from school and wiping the floorboards would really bring pain.
Exclusive body cam footage obtained by ABC News shows when police with guns drawn go room to room inside Franke's Utah home after her 12-year-old son allegedly escaped Jody Hildenbrandt's home and ran to a neighbor who called 911.
I just had a 12-year-old boy show up here at my front door asking for help. He's emaciated, he's got tape around his legs, he's hungry, and he's thirsty.
Authorities then went to the Utah home of Jody Hildenbrandt, Franke's business partner, which is where they claim they found Franke's 10-year-old daughter, also in an emaciated condition.
Well, we have to physically see her.
Franke, a mother of 6, and Hildenbrandt charged with 6 felony child abuse charges. The duo accused of allegedly tying up 2 of Franke's children with duct tape and starving them. Some of the alleged claims of neglect had previously been reported on a 911 call made from Franke's eldest daughter, Sherry, last year.
My 4 younger siblings are living in Springville, and my neighbors have been telling me that they have been left home alone for about 4 or 5 days.
ABC News obtained records showing police responded to the Franke's home more than a dozen times over the last few years, including reports of juvenile problems in 2018 and welfare checks in 2022.
Estranged husband Kevin Franke, who's been separated from his wife since last summer, is fighting for custody of their 4 minor children in court. Police say all 4 kids are currently in the care of the state's Child and Family Services. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
2 New Mexico-based special prosecutors are looking into recharging actor Alec Baldwin with involuntary manslaughter. This is in connection to the 2021 failed shooting on a movie set by presenting evidence to a grand jury. They claim additional facts have emerged in the shooting that killed cinematographer Helena Hutchins. Baldwin pointed a gun at Hutchins during a rehearsal when the gun discharged, killing her and wounding a director. The charge could carry up to 18 months in prison if convicted. So here is your viewer poll this evening. You can scan that QR code on your screen to vote. We ask you, should Alec Baldwin face any charges in the 2021 movie set shooting, yes or no? According to these results, 51% stand at yes and 49% stand at no. That's a divide.
Close, yeah.
We want to hear your opinion on this. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part. And we're going to have an update on 25 News Now at 10.
Today, Victoria College hosted physics professor and viral video star Dr. Tatiana Erukimova. It's part of the college's Lyceum lecture series. The Texas A&M University physics instructor organizes annual physics and engineering festivals for thousands of visitors. Her recent videos have attracted more than 500 million views on social media. The event at the Victoria Fine Arts Center was free and open to the public. The Internal Revenue Service moving ahead with a plan to build its own free tax filing program. Direct File is a pilot version that will be available to some taxpayers in 13 states next year. Eventually, the IRS tax filing system could serve as an alternative to private tax preparation companies. The online pilot program will be very limited in scope. The IRS anticipates that at least several 100,000 taxpayers will decide to take part in the program.
For the first time, Victoria's Secret is introducing underwear specifically designed to meet the needs of women with disabilities. The adaptive features include magnetic closures, sensory-friendly fabric, and fully adjustable and convertible front straps. The Victoria's Secret in pink adaptive line is now available to customers online and in select stores nationwide.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. We're looking for a lot of sunshine out there, but notice the winds are coming up out of the south. That means we're going to warm up again. We'll be talking about how warm it'll get and what to expect for the rest of the week coming up in a moment. Welcome back, everybody. I want to start you off with this really nice picture. Thanks to Stephen Beal, who lives here, but his cousin is in Maryland, and they went playing golf out in Frostburg, which is out in the panhandle of Maryland. And it's nice to, you've got fall colors, but there's no snow on the ground, and the grass is still playable. How about that? That's pretty nice. If you have family back east and they can send you a picture, I'll be happy to share with you, because that's the only fall I ever used to see in the books. Because down here, the mesquites don't do a whole lot for wintertime. Neither do the huizaches anyway. Southerly winds have returned to much of Texas, as you can see right about there, and that is going to warm us up a little bit. It was nice being, cool there for October, but just can't last forever. We're looking at temperatures actually getting back to the 90s because of dry air over the region, and of course that southerly breeze. So the cool, chilly mornings that we had, not so cool, not so chilly. We have a lot of activity in the Gulf, but it's just not really coming to our area. Right about here, you see this little dip right here? That is the next frontal system coming down. It's not a huge one, but it will be coming down on Thursday, and actually will reestablish more dry air. So if you got plans for the weekend, it's going to be terrific. Lots of sunshine, dry weather, no real, not even any real heat problems, but it's just not going to feel like October, tiptoeing through the pumpkins is not going to feel, it's going to feel like, wow, we must be in the crossroads again. 43 tonight. By tomorrow we'll be in the 50s, and then the day after in the 50s, and slowly but surely you see temperatures rising. 82 will be our forecast high tomorrow, 88 out in far west Texas. And as the nation goes, we are obviously watching what's happening on the west coast of Mexico. Why are we looking at that? Well, like I told you a couple of times, every now and then most of the hurricanes move out into the Pacific. Every now and then when they get up about here, they get caught in the prevailing westerlies, the upper winds, and they get pulled back into Mexico. In fact, this one is so definite that it's going to get pulled back in. They're already putting up advisories probably 5 days in advance for much of the northern part, well, let's see, the Sonoran Desert. So it's going to be strange. You've got a desert and you've got a hurricane at the same time. So we're going to go through as a Category 2 through Cabo San Lucas, and then it rolls into this part of Mexico. And then what happens? The remnants come into Texas. So because we're like next door to each other, and that's why yesterday I said something about October 25th. That's probably the day that it'll get here. Anyway, meanwhile, we've got Sean, the hurricane, out in the mid-Atlantic. Not a major problem because it's going to do that turn as well. High pressure is now rolling to the east coast. They're finally getting a break after about 5 days of stormy weather. Here's our little frontal system. You can see it slowly coming down into our area, but it's going to be very weak by the time it gets here, so it won't be much of anything. It'd just be more dry air, which is all right. 59 the low, 82 tomorrow's high in Port Lavaca, in Cuero, 51 to about 84. Lots of sunshine, but not quite as cool. And then getting up to about 87. How do we get a cool front and 90 degrees? Well, it's a northwest wind, which is a dry wind, and with abundant sunshine, we'll get up to about 90. We'll try and knock the temperature down a little bit as we get into the weekend. That's your 7-day forecast. Reminding everybody, we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. Here's Karina.
Thank you, Mac. And now here's Sports Director Gina Perez.
Thanks, Karina. The Dallas Cowboys and the Texas Rangers both took care of business over the weekend. Meanwhile, another Texas team finds itself in a hole. That and more after the break. At Crossroads, the high school football season is only 3 weeks away from playoffs, and there are 3 games featuring Crossroads area teams that are important and could potentially be the game of the week this week. Game 1 includes the Goliad Tigers, which are heading to Edna and are going to rely on its dominant defense if the Tigers want to do something it hasn't done in over 5 years, which is beat the Cowboys. Goliad's defense is no joke this season, coming off back-to-back shutouts and allowing less than 2 touchdowns per game. The Goliad defense has gotten shredded, allowing more than 30 points twice this season. The Tiger offense has only been shut out once this year, but other than that, has scored over 45 points 4 times this season. The Edna Cowboys, however, have dominated this matchup, winning the last 5 matchups and averaging just under 30 points per game. The Cowboys are the number 6 ranked team in the state and undefeated in district. This game will likely be for the district title. The Cowboys are coming off a 56-35 win over the Industrial Cobras in last week's game of the week. Also in Class 3A, the Yoakum Bulldogs are on a downhill skid after losing 2 in a row and starting 0-1 in district play. Yoakum will be taking the top team in the district, the undefeated and number 2 ranked in the state Columbus Cardinals. Yoakum has not beaten Columbus since 2018. The Bulldogs are still searching for its first district win. The Bulldogs always seem to be in a shootout, and Yoakum head coach Bo Robinson believes the defense is going to need to step up if they want to make a deep run. Yoakum will be in Columbus Friday night. The final game that has the potential to be electric, which has been the past 5 years, is Shiner and Refugio. These two 2A Titans are very familiar with each other, and it's about as familiar as you can be. Refugio being the more dominant team as of late, but Shiner the more successful team after winning 2 back-to-back state titles in 2020 and 2021. The last time these two met, Refugio won on this play, a 4th and long Hail Mary inside their own red zone to seal the deal. Shiner was ranked number 9 in the state heading into this season. Meanwhile, Refugio is ranked number 2 in the state now. This could be a blowout in the Bobcats' favor or a close one. It could go either way. Kickoff in Shiner at 7:30. And if you have an opinion on which game should be the game of the week, go to our website, crossroadstoday.com/vote. Well, things were chippy between Dallas and Los Angeles last night. The Chargers landed the first hard-hitting blow that mattered as Justin Herbert connects with Keenan Allen to go up 7-0 early on in the first. Dallas on a 4th and 1 in Charger territory. A QB Reed goes for 18 yards and the score. This was Dak Prescott's first rushing touchdown of the season to tie the game up at 7 apiece. Dallas and LA both scored a touchdown and field goals to make it a 20-17 game with less than 2 minutes to go in the game. Herbert drops back, but the Cowboys' pressure gets there and forces an errant throw. Stephon Gilmore catches the INT. Dallas bounces back after being dominated by San Francisco 42-10 last week. The Cowboys are looking up heading into the bye week. Now, the Houston Astros are 0-2 in the American League Conference Series after losing back-to-back home games. The Rangers stole 2 games in Minute Maid Park. Yesterday's game was closer than the first. The Rangers jumped out to an early 4-0 lead, but thanks to Yordan Alvarez, the Astros continued to chip away at the lead 1 run at a time. And a 1-run lead. Altuve at the plate, 2 outs, a deep fly ball to left center field. The Astros get the 2-0 lead heading back to Arlington. Game 3 will be tomorrow at 7:30. The Astros need this one if they hope not to get swept. That's your sports. Don and Karina, back to you.
Thanks, Gina. We're going to be back in a moment. A speaking air conditioner and a hummable saxophone presented in Japan. Cell phone and scan this QR code. This is our quick response code to download the Crossroads Today app. You can get breaking news alerts and vote in all our viewer polls, get the latest news, weather, and sports, and learn all about our ongoing contest. You can also submit news tips, videos, and photos.
Finally tonight, a talking air conditioner and a hummable saxophone among the array of products showcased at this year's technology exhibition in Japan. Nearly 700 companies from in and out of Japan showcasing their newest electronics and tech products. This talking air conditioner can read aloud disaster prevention information from local governments. And users of the hummable saxophone can simply hum to play the sax.
Oh.
All right.
You know, I think
That's
that there
interesting.
is such an instrument already called the kazoo.
But
you can
now you can
hum
sound
into
like
the kazoo.
Now you can sound like the Saturday Night Live.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And then if you learn it, then you can have lessons, give lessons to people for money, and that way you can buy the talking air conditioner.
Interesting.
We would have got it all figured out.
Yeah.
We
Got it all
really
figured
did.
out. Very
We
good.
don't need the air conditioner now with our weather, do
So
we?
you can hum, and it sounds like a saxophone.
Exactly.
Very good.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Pretty good. Air conditioned, well, we didn't need it for a couple of days, but for tomorrow might be a little different as we start warming up a little bit. We're getting up to about 90 degrees on Friday because of a dry north wind and abundant sunshine. So you think cool front, it's more of a dry line that comes through with drier air, but that'll get us back to the mid 80s early part of next week. Bottom line is there's no rain in for the next 7 days, but I just keep telling you about 14 days from now, October 25th, is when we see that storm out on the Pacific coast make a move on Texas. We'll have all the latest for you.
All right. Thank you, Mac. And thanks for joining us.
We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 10.